Hi, everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Erin.
And I'm Darius.
And today we are talking about hip-hop and the way that words in hip-hop have actually changed the way we speak English, which is pretty cool, I think. But before we get into it, let's talk about some of the different styles of music we like. So, Darius, what kind of music do you listen to?
Actually, I love all music.
Okay.
Well, except country music.
Yeah, I think we're the same on that.
I'm not a fan of country music
Right.
at all. But I love jazz, I love the blues, and I love hip-hop because I think that's been a large part of my life growing up.
Right.
So it's just something that I've always kind of listened to, although it's not always great.
Right.
What about you?
Well, I'm the same. I don't listen to country music. I listen to all other types of music except country, and I guess pop music. I like some pop songs nowadays here and there. I don't listen to a lot of modern hip-hop, but I do listen to a lot of old-school hip-hop. So I listen to basically everything from the 1600s to basically the year 2000 is what I listen to.
I agree. I think it's definitely shifted in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
It's more of like sounds and colors.
Yeah, and you know what? Nothing wrong with sounds and colors,
It's
just not for me. I like lyrics and
Yes.
and
Emotion. Something in the words.
Exactly. All right. Well, before we talk more and more about that, which we probably could, let's get to today's article.
Reading.
Rapper's Dictionary: How Hip-Hop Has Changed English. It's rhythm, it's music, it's poetry and culture. Hip-hop is all this and more. In less than 50 years, this type of music has had a big influence on the English language. Here are the background stories of just a few of the words it's given us. Bling. This term for flashy, big, and expensive jewelry is often said as bling bling. The word is from the sound of something shining or glittering. It became popular from the 1999 song Bling Bling by BG and Cash Money Millionaires. After that, even car companies started using the word in their ads. These days, bling is not as popular among rappers, who prefer calling their jewelry diamonds instead. Skirt. Skirt comes from the noise of a car's tires squealing on the street as it drives away. It shows excitement or trying to get away from someone. This is a popular ad-lib that you can hear in trap and mumble rap tunes, like those from Migos and Lil Yachty.
All right, our article starts out today with kind of like a definition introduction. It says, it's rhythm, it's music, it's poetry and culture. Hip-hop is all this and more. All right, so we're basically just using these words to describe what hip-hop can be. And one of the ones that we used was rhythm. Now, in music or dance, rhythm is the repeated pattern of sounds or movements. Now, usually when you think of rhythm in terms of music, you think of the drums. Now, the drums give a song its beat. So, dun, 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 the stuff that you hear under the rest of the music. And this beat gives the song its repeated patterns that sort of give you the beat to what you want to dance to. So you dance to the beat sort of thing. It kind of gives you those movements, I guess.
So our article continues. In less than 50 years, this type of music has had a big influence on the English language.
That's right.
So the grammar pattern that we use in this sentence is the present perfect tense. We use present perfect tense when we want to talk about something that connects the present and the past.
Okay.
So maybe we're talking about something that started in the past or is still happening in the present. So our article says this music has had a big influence.
That's right.
This means that the influence that started in the past with hip-hop is still happening and affecting the present.
Okay, so it was changing music in the past, but it's also still changing music now.
That's right.
Okay, so how do we set it up?
So the pattern that we have here is we have an auxiliary verb, which is has or have, depending on your subject. And we combine that has or have with the past participle of the next verb. So in the article, this type of music will be our subject, and the auxiliary verb would be has. And we will pair that with the past participle of have, which is had.
Right.
So another example would be Duncan has eaten his lunch.
Right.
The subject there is Duncan. Has is the auxiliary verb.
Right.
Eaten, the past participle of eat, and finishing that with his lunch.
Right. So eaten is the past participle, right?
Yes.
And that's why it looks a bit funny or different from eat and ate.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we pair any verb with has or have, we're going to change that to the past participle. And sometimes it will stay the same, like hit, or sometimes it will be a completely different word. For instance, we have here eaten.
Right.
Another example sentence, let's say, Barb has not been to this restaurant. So we have Barb, who is our subject. Has, the auxiliary verb. We added not as a negative to show that this has not happened.
Right.
Been, which is the past participle of be. And to finish with this restaurant.
That's right. Okay, so basically the restaurant has always been there. So the past, we basically have this restaurant. And in the past, Barb has not eaten there. And here we're also saying that she's not eaten there yet.
Right.
So right now in the future, or I guess in the present, she is still not eating there.
Exactly. The restaurant has not been anywhere, but now it's new to Barb.
Right. Okay. Well, now we know how to use present perfect. We're actually going to see it quite a bit in our article, so pay attention for it and see if you can pick it out. But let's continue on in the article. It says, here are the background stories of just a few of the words it's given us. There's another one. It has given us. All right, so what does the background mean? Background is a noun, and basically it's a past situation or past events that help explain why something happens the way it is today. So, these stories will help explain why we use these words in English. A person's background includes all the things that have happened in the person's life to make them who they are today. So, for instance, in my background, I've traveled a lot, I've lived in Taiwan, I've studied at different schools. All of these things I've done in the past help explain why I am the person I am today. Here's another example. Do you know this song's background? It has an interesting history. You should look it up sometime.
It's definitely important to know the background of some of these words because otherwise...
You might not understand them.
You hear them like, how does that make sense?
Exactly.
So we have a phrase that's also included in this sentence, and it is a few of. We use a few of in front of a noun. We want to say that we have a small number of that noun.
Right.
So if we're going to talk about the background of stories, we're saying that there's a small number of words that we're going to talk about with those backgrounds.
We're not going to talk about all of the words. We don't have time for that.
That would take all day.
Right, so just a few of them. All right, well, let's continue on and find out what our first word is. And that word is bling, B-L-I-N-G. Now, this term for flashy, big, and expensive jewelry is often said as bling bling. Now, that kind of sounds silly coming from me, but that's all right. I don't really listen to...
We're not rappers.
Yeah, I am definitely not a rapper, but that's okay. I can explain the word just as well. So what is a term? Now, a term is a word, phrase, or expression that shows a particular meaning of something. So, for instance, we often use the letters and word ESL learner to talk about people who are learning to speak English as their second language. Now, when you see the letters ESL and the word learner somewhere, now you know that there's a term for this type of person. In fact, if you're listening to this lesson, I could describe you with the term ESL learner. Here's another example. There's a scientific term for these beautiful colors in the sky, but I just call them the northern lights. So the scientific term would be what people call it in science circles, and that for your knowledge is Aurora Borealis.
Yep. Something I always wish to see.
Yes.
But you can never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, and you probably won't see them in Taiwan.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So our next word that we have is jewelry. So jewelry can be things that we wear on the outside, and they're made of certain metals like silver, gold, or even platinum. And it's also common for these jewelry to have stones like diamonds or pearls.
Right.
So some examples can be rings that we wear on our hands, earrings for our ears, necklaces around our necks, and even crowns for royalty.
That's right. All right. So if you see someone wearing a big gold necklace, you could say that's probably really expensive.
Yeah.
It's easy to see. You could say it's flashy. That's what flashy means. It's sort of easy to see, easy to recognize. And you could call that necklace bling bling.
Yeah, and a lot of times when we have jewelry, well, not everyone. Some people want to show how much money they have.
Right.
But not always. Sometimes just you like the design.
Yeah. All right. Do we have an example sentence for jewelry?
Everyone was impressed by all of the queen's expensive jewelry. So here, again, of the queen, knowing she has lots of money, and I'm sure jewelry, I'm sure that she wants to show everyone that she has that.
Right. I don't know if the Queen of England would call her jewelry bling bling, but
Not
maybe.
to everyone.
Yeah, maybe just to her husband. All right, well, let's find out more about bling bling. It says the word is from the sound of something shining or glittering. A bit of a case of, in English, we call this onomatopoeia. It's when we think a certain thing makes a certain sound, basically. And so if you look at a shiny gold necklace in the sun, you might see that it's kind of has flashes of light coming off it. We would call it that. We would call that effect glittering. It's sort of glittering is when we see lots of shiny spots of light coming off of something very shiny, so like a gold necklace, and that's kind of where it comes from.
So our article continues. It became popular from the 1999 song Bling Bling by BG and Cash Money Millionaires.
Okay, so that's where we see it in the music. And they're the ones who actually kind of put this word into the English language.
Yep, and I was young at the time, but I definitely remember that song.
Okay, I will say that I don't remember that song, but maybe I'll go look it up. All right, well, after it became introduced in this song, it says after that, even car companies started using the word in their ads. Of course, you want to show off the way a car sort of glitters in the light.
What better way than bling bling?
Exactly. All right.
So in our article, it says, these days, bling is not as popular among rappers who prefer calling their jewelry diamonds instead. So that's interesting. A switch from bling to diamonds.
Yeah.
So we have diamonds here, and that is a noun. So diamonds are called precious stones, and this means that these are stones that are naturally created in the earth. And diamonds are usually clear, and we can see through them, but there are diamonds that are maybe yellow or even blue.
Pink? There's pink diamonds
And
too?
pink diamonds, yeah. And diamonds are actually the hardest natural substance in the world. So sometimes people will say, oh, it's hard as a diamond. That means it's very hard.
Diamonds are actually so hard and so strong that they can actually cut through glass.
Yes, that is true.
And actually, more diamonds are used for industry and making things than are actually in jewelry.
What? Wow, I did not even know that.
Yeah.
See, multi-purpose. So an example sentence would be, if you really want to make your mom happy, buy her a diamond ring.
Oh, I don't have the money to buy my mom a diamond ring, so I'll make her one.
Right.
I'll draw it on paper.
Or you can have the alternative, which is cubic zirconia. Looks like it, but not as expensive.
Exactly. All right, that's what I'll do. Okay, so we now know where the term bling comes from, or when we describe jewelry. We call them either diamonds or bling. But let's move on to the next term. And that one, you might not know how to say it because there are no vowels in it to tell you how, but it goes kind of like this. Skirt, I think, is how it goes.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Pretty much like a car.
All right. So skirt comes from the noise of a car's tires squealing on the street as it drives away. So you kind of have to think about the sound a car makes when it drives away really fast, okay? So it's kind of like a high-pitched sound, and that's what we call a squeal. We can use squeal as both a noun and a verb. A squeal, the noun, is a very high-pitched sound. As a verb, it means to make this kind of sound. So I'm not going to do it because it's probably going to hurt your ears, but maybe I'll do it a little bit quietly. It's kind of like that.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
So that's where the word skirt comes from, is from that noise. And that happens because of the way that the material of a car tire, the rubber, kind of reacts to the speed at which it's moving across the street.
Mm-hmm. And an article continues to explain that it shows excitement or trying to get away from someone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want someone near you or you're really excited, then you will make that skirt sound. So excitement, that's a noun. And this means that we have a feeling that makes us feel that we're filled with lots of energy and we want to do something. We're very eager. And we can show or we can be filled with excitement. Mm-hmm. So an example would be, I was filled with excitement when my friend said he bought us tickets to see The Lion King this summer.
Ooh, that would fill me with excitement too.
Me too. I need friends like that.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so Darius explained that you might hear this sound skirt in a hip-hop song when somebody is really excited, but he also in the sentence said that you might make it when you are trying to get away from somebody or something. Now, what this means is that somebody or something is trying to escape from another thing. So, for instance, if some robbers are trying to get away from the police, they're probably driving really fast or running to escape from being caught. Now, we can say that they're trying to get away from the police. And if they're driving, we can actually call their car a getaway car. A getaway car. So you might see that in the movies quite a bit. Here's an example sentence. Do you think the good guy will get away from the monster at the end of the movie?
Always. So our article continues. Mm-hmm. This is a popular ad-lib that you hear in trap and mumble rap tunes.
Okay.
Like those from Migos and Lil Yachty.
Okay, I know those names.
I know them too.
Those names.
Are they great? Well, I like Migos. Lil Yachty.
I don't really listen to them, so I don't know
who that is.
Yeah.
I just know how to say the name.
All right. Well, what is an ad-lib?
So an ad-lib is a noun, and it's defined as something in hip-hop when you just make a sound or a noise that you make up.
Okay, so it's not technically a real word. So skirt is kind of just like a noise that we're making into a word.
Basically, when you have that excitement and the music's going, you just yell out something, and it seems to fit sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Many rappers use this because they want to sound like really unique.
Okay.
When
so
you hear
it's kind of
like it's them.
Oh, so if you make this sound, I know it's kind of that artist.
Exactly.
Interesting. All right, so what do we mean by sort of mumble rap or trap music?
So mumble rap is basically what it sounds like. To mumble is when you're saying something and you can't really understand what it is.
Right.
So if I were mumbling now, it'd be... Do you know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
No, but if you have the right music behind it, then everyone will seem to love it.
Okay. All right.
And trap music's just a style of music where it just have different beats, incorporating like maybe house or techno with rap and hip hop, and blending those together for different sounds.
Interesting. You know what? To be fair, I know people who listen to both styles of music. I don't really listen to either, but, you know,
it's one of those things where if you don't take it very seriously, it's okay. And if you don't care that you have to actually decipher anything, it's fine.
All right. Well, what do we mean by tune? We described mumble rap tunes or like trap music. Now, a tune here is basically another way of saying a song, which is a collection of musical notes put together and played in a way that's really nice to listen to. Of course, Darius explained that mumble rap tunes are songs where it sounds like this. What I said there was mumble instead of clearly saying the words, okay? So you might not know even what the words are, but it kind of has a nice tune behind it, kind of music behind it. All right, here's an example sentence for tune. The band played a familiar tune that had everyone clapping along. So basically, you could replace the word tune in that sentence with a song. So everybody knew this song and everybody was sort of clapping. Okay, so we have finished up today with skirt. Now you know what it is, where it comes from, how to use it. Same with bling, which I guess we might not use very much anymore, so use diamonds instead.
I'll use bling.
Okay, well, we are going to finish up today's article with our For You chat, but we'll be back again here tomorrow with more hip-hop words that have changed English, so come back then too. But for now, For You chat.
For You chat.
All right, so we're back with our For You chat question. Today we have, how is music different today than it was 10, 20, or 30 years ago?
Well, I would say the biggest change that's different from probably like 30 to 20 years ago is that music is made with a lot of machines these days. So whereas in the past, a lot of music was made by sitting down with an instrument and playing the instrument and kind of working out how different instruments would sound together, a lot of that is done on the computer these days. So I would say that's the biggest change. What do you think?
I definitely agree with that. I think nowadays, many people are auto-tuned, so they kind of sound like robots or something.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of the music is made on computers opposed to just sitting down and creating something.
Right. I'd say another big change that's kind of come about recently too is that music these days I find uses fewer words. Whereas
mumble rap.
Yeah, or just like repeating some words over and over and over again instead of sort of sitting down and writing a song that has lyrics that actually mean something.
Right.
More like poetry put to music, right? So I hear a lot less of that these days.
Yeah, I don't think many people speak for themselves. It's like, oh, here's this word you have to say it. And then, of course, people are like, oh, I love the song.
Right.
Because you can remember it.
Well, it's got a beat, right?
Right.
If it has a good beat and it doesn't take a lot to remember, then people are going to like it. And
exactly.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Just
I guess,
preference.
Yeah, it's just what you prefer. All right, well, what do you guys think? How else has music changed over the years? You guys can talk about that, but for now we have to say goodbye. So for English for You, I'm Erin.
And I'm Darius.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Rapper's Dictionary, How Hip-Hop Has Changed English. It's rhythm, it's music, it's poetry and culture. Hip-hop is all this and more. In less than 50 years, this type of music has had a big influence on the English language. Here are the background stories of just a few of the words it's given us. Bling. This term for flashy, big, and expensive jewelry is often said as bling bling. The word is from the sound of something shining or glittering. It became popular from the 1999 song Bling Bling by BG and Cash Money Millionaires. After that, even car companies started using the word in their ads. These days, bling is not as popular among rappers who prefer calling their jewelry diamonds instead. Skirt. Skirt comes from the noise of a car's tires squealing on the street as it drives away. It shows excitement or trying to get away from someone. This is a popular ad-lib that you can hear in trap and mumble rap tunes, like those from Migos and Lil Yachty.
Vocabulary Review.
Background. To understand the culture of Hong Kong, a person must first understand its background as a British colony. Term. You shouldn't call someone you don't know sweetie. We usually save that term for people we know well. Jewelry. Greta's husband gave her a necklace for her birthday, but it wasn't the kind of jewelry she likes. Diamond. David bought Marcy an expensive necklace that was covered in shiny diamonds. excitement. With a minute left in the game and the score at 83-83, we could feel the excitement of the crowd. Tune. Jonathan knows how to play a few tunes on his violin, but not very well.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net